Hello, myself Pranita Penji from CSC AI and ML. Let's discuss the topic about files in C. Let's understand what does a file mean. So, a file is a collection of data or information that are stored on a computer known as file. A file is a collection of bytes stored on a secondary storage device. There are four different types of files: data files, text files, program files, and directory files. Different types of files store different types of information. A file has beginning and an end. We need a marker to mark the current position of the file from beginning. That means in terms of bytes, while reading and write operation take place on the file. Initially, the marker is at the beginning of the file. We can move the marker to any other position in the file. The new current position can be specified as an offset from the beginning in a file. What are file streams? A stream refers to a flow of data in bytes from one place to another place. Example, from program to file, or from file to a program. There are two types of streams: text stream. What is text? It consists of sequence of characters. Each line of characters in the stream may be terminated by new line character. Text streams are used for textual data, which has a consistent appearance from one environment to another or from one machine to another. The second one is binary stream. It is a series of bytes. Binary streams are primarily used for non-textual data, which is required to keep exact contents of the file. Now let's see some file management functions. What are these functions and what is the use of these functions? Now fopen. Fopen is a function for the file which creates a new file for use or opens an existing file for use. Now fclose. Close is a file which has been opened for use. Then getC reads a character from a file. PutS writes a character to a file. Fprintf, that means writes a set of data values to a file. Fscanf reads a set of data values from a file. GetW reads an integer from a file. PutW writes an integer to the file. Fseek sets the position to a desired point in the files. Ftell gives the current position in the file. Rewind sets the position to the beginning of the file. Naming a file. A file is identified by its name. This name is divided into two parts, that is file name and the extension. File name, it consists of alphabets and digits. Special characters are also supported, but it depends on the operating system we use. Whereas extension, it describes a file type, that is text file or a C file or a Python file, etc. How to open a file? Before opening a file, you need to declare a file pointer. A file pointer is a pointer variable of type file, which is defined in the stdio.h header file. A file pointer has a complete information about file being opened and processed, such as name of file, mode it is opened in, starting buffer address, a character pointer that points to the character being read. So to open a file, the syntax is file start pointer, fptr. Here fptr is a file pointer. To perform any operation like read or write on a file, the file must be brought into memory from the storage device, that is hard disk. This process of bringing the copy of file from disk to memory is called opening of a file. Now let's see the mode we use in files. Modes are mode. That means open a text file for reading only. The file does not exist, it returns null. W mode opens a file for writing only. If file exists, then all the contents of the file are destroyed and new fresh blank file is copied on the disk and memory the same. File doesn't exist. A new blank file is created and opened for writing. Returns null. The if it is unable to open the file. Next, A mode, that is append mode. Appends to the existing text file, adds data to the end of the file. If file doesn't exist, then new file is created. Returns null if it is unable to open the file. Next, RB. Open a binary file for reading. WP. Open a binary file for writing. AB. Append to a binary file. R plus. Open a text file for reading or writing. W plus. Opens the existing text file or creates text file for reading or writing. Then A plus. Append or create text file for reading or writing. R plus B. Open a binary file for reading or writing. W plus B. Create a binary file for reading or writing. A plus B. That means append a binary file for reading or writing. These are the different modes we use to open the files. Now let's see the syntax for opening a file. We use fopen function. Like all other file system functions, uses the head file stdio.h. The name of the file to be opened is pointed by fname. That is, in the syntax, we can see that file star fopen of char star fname and char star mode. It means fname here describes the file name and the mode is described as we seen before, like read mode, write mode, append mode, etc. To read a file, to read contents from an existing file, we need to open that file in read. It means R mode. Algorithm to read data from a file. First point, open the file in read. Then read data from the file, write the data into an output device, repeat the steps 3 and 4 until the end of file occurs, and then stop procedure. Let's see the program. As we said, first we need to declare a file pointer, and then we are declaring a character. Now we are opening the file, that is fp is equals to fopen of file name, and the mode, since we are reading the file, we are keeping the mode as R mode, and we are checking that if fp is equals to none, then we are printing unable to open the clear. Else, we are continuing till end of the file, the while loop, and we are getting character by character from the file and giving the output to the screen. Now, what is EOF? That is end of file. Generally, if file contains a large amount of data, in a large file, it is difficult to detect the end of file while reading. In order to mark the end of text file, a special character EOF is stored at the end. So closing a file. When a file is opened, it is mandatory to close the file. So the syntax for closing file is nothing but fclose of file pointer. To close a file and associate it with the stream file pointer, use fclose function. Fclose returns 0 if the file is closed successfully. The fclose all closes all the files opened previously. So let's see the use of fclose. So in this program, same we are doing the file, declaring the file pointer, opening it in a read mode, and printing the characters in the file to the output, and then we are closing. At the last step, we are closing the file as fclose of fp. Appending the files can add contents to an existing file whenever required. Perform the following steps to append an existing file. First, as it is, declare the pointer, then open the file in append mode, that is A mode, read data from the keyboard, write into the file, and repeat till the end of user gives the input, and then stop the process. Now let's see the string IO function in the files. So here we have fgetS. This function reads a character from the file stream pointed by the fptr and stores it in the character array str until a new line is read or end of file is reached or n-1 characters have been read. Now let's see another function, that is fputs. This function writes data to the string pointed to by fptr. The content of the string is stored in str. So let's see an example program. Here we declare the file and we are declaring a line of 280 characters. Then we are opening the file a.date in append mode. We are checking that if it is a null, then unable to open. Else we are else we are getting input from the keyboard and we are appending that to the file, and then we are closing the file, and then at final statement we are printing that file is successfully created. This program appends whatever you enter from keyboard to a file. Let's see some more string IO functions in files. fseek moves the pointer from one record to another. The first argument is a file pointer. The second argument tells the compiler how many bytes the pointer should be moved from a particular position. The third argument is the reference from where the pointer should be moved n bytes specified in the offset. One and fseek, the third argument is a reference from where the pointer should be moved. So we have some statements. Seek end moves the pointer from the end marker. Seek current, seek CUR moves the pointer from the current position. Seek set moves the pointer from the beginning of the file. So for example, fseek of a PTR size seek current sets the cursor ahead from current position by size bytes. fseek of PTR minus size, comma C current sets the cursor back from current position by size bytes. If we write fseek of fptr 0 and then secant set cursor to the end of file, fseek of fptr, comma 0, comma seek set cursors to the beginning of the file. Thank you.